the players get on the bus, we will get ready to head right back into the action. You see the players dropping here.
And they're jumping right in. Match number 3, Gamers8 featuring Fortnite, 0 Bills, the Middle East qualifiers. And Brutal Bash will be the first place to find some action. Not only is it a hot zone, it's also one of the places where we've been seeing the most early game fights in the first 2 games. Now just 2 duels instead of 3. Battling it out 50-50.
Yeah, and we often see that fight be a bit of a slow burner. I think there's more than enough loot there sort of for 2 teams to sort of meander for a bit before deciding to engage on each other. So we'll follow that one and see sort of how it goes. Of course, often the battle for the vault, right, is the sort of key differentiator there. But all across the map, right, we're going to see players sort of trying to step on each other's toes now, claim a bit more space. Like you said, you've got a feel for the lobby in those first 2 games. Now you start to think, what can we actually take advantage of? Maybe there is somebody landing near us that we can capitalize on. In the case of this fight here over at Mega City, there's definitely that. OGX needs to be careful. FV very much getting caught out there.
I'll see what he could do next. Mega City, a little bit tricky to fight. Lots of opportunities to just run behind cover and then get lost and be a completely different story. But him and Real Pro will be able to stick together, loot up as much as possible, just corner OG and Basil into this one tower. They can attack whenever they want. They have at least a full load out of something, and Real Pro's getting just very close to be able to find some shields for Alel on the right over there.
Switching gears a bit, Rapid, QND. I think a lot of people will be looking at these 2 as players who are going to sort of set the pace for the lobby. Of course, champions in their own right when it comes to Middle East Fortnite competition. And so they'll be looking at some of their competitors thinking, hold on a minute, you know, don't forget us. I know Hero and Fahad are doing well, but we're here as well.
No, really good reactive fighters as well. A lot of the times being shot at first, but then dealing double the blow back. So we'll see what the situation is here. Nawaf sees him right now, sees exactly where QND is, but okay, I guess not. He was in that bush, made the run, and it's not possible.
They were alert. They knew somebody was lurking around and actually caught him out very quickly. He had nothing really to defend himself. So.
No, I think he must have known that next flare gun charge was kind of coming up too, so had to run as fast as possible. RVR and Abo all the way over at Shady Stilts. No side of the map. Looking for some action too, but nothing really jamming just yet. Everyone's just on their own paths right now.
Yeah, this one's nothing really sort of forcing them to fight or anything like that, so they'll just continue to loot up.
Do see a fight breaking out over at Slabs, and Mega City's getting a bit more congested as another duo comes through. A lot of the time you just into a POV, see someone running right into another player, and it's his teammate. I'm getting ready to just like hypercast, and it's not just a friend.
But every once in a while you do get those moments, right? Where like, it is actually just a guy who's just run straight into somebody else. You can see here, right? Mm-hmm. Over at the Bastion. Again, now that these teams have looted up, inching closer towards each other, capturing the flag. And it doesn't actually kick off a fight, but again, it will just keep everyone alert.
Smicky finding more loot inside the walls. RX has been here match after match, but him and RV not finding the most success off spawn at the Bastion.
Yeah, and I think one of the tough things about the Bastion, right, is that if you aren't sort of like able to just sort of claim it and really are confident in your ability to fight there, and you're up against a team who is, you can very easily be pushed out of that spot.
Ahmed looking for something, but not really going to find much right now.
Man.
SO8 completely flushed out.
The flares are so punishing.
It's tough. Yeah, right back to the lobby. See the POV off the flare as it happens. Good catch there. Frenzy Fuel's now up for the taking for this duo, and that's a lot of loot to sift through.
Yeah, plenty of, but, you know, they fought for it, and I don't want to say they fought hard, right? They made it look really easy, to be fair.
On Frostier fronts, we have PT surveying the Bastion. I think everyone kind of knows that this is kind of the central point that you want a little bit of access to. You have to move through, but there is always a duo fighting there for a really long time. Although there might have been plans to stay towards the north, the zone looks to be pulling southwest for the moment. So everyone who has started in the snow has to kind of go through the jungle and then just end up on greener pastures.
Well, yeah, these two know that there's a team in Bastion, and so they're not going to run through it. They're going to sort of just wrap around, try to come up the map from the north side.
Tarm also locking it in. They're taking their time. Lots of loot to get, and you can sense a little bit of a difference from this game and the two prior. We're looking at lots of fast decisions, off-spawn fights. You were laughing at certain points. You were in pain seeing duos go down. This time, though, everyone, even RX over here, not really going for that 50-50. Taking it tactical, taking it slow, making sure they don't run into anything by any means and trip over themselves.
Yeah, it could be like a kick in the shin sometimes, you know, when you're expecting maybe a team to sort of take a fight at you and you just can't quite get them to actually fully engage, especially when you want the fight, you want the action, and seeking it out too hard can cost you. Faisal might experience that now, but these guys are just moving in. And they're up against two players who are very much separated, and so if they can isolate the 2v1, it very much won't end well, but they actually opted for two 1v1s. That might just tell you how confident they are in their ability, and confidence was clearly valid, especially on Faisal's side. He picks up one. And it's up to Hype now to finish up his job. If he can stay alive, he'll get a trade. And so now 1v1 between Hype and Faisal. We are seeing the flare again. So critical in these fights. It is such a strong weapon, and it just makes sure everything is secure.
Faisal, Wazi coming in, splintered but not broken. They're going to be able to patch themselves back up. No, so the wall makes sure they're good to go again, but bunkers now being dropped all around by so many players, not in any tactical prowess, but in desperation as teammates go down. Casper is not going to be able to stick around. Shattered at the slabs he is, as Malik gets more loot to work with.
Yeah, ZH was down. Casper was doing his best to try to stay alive and maybe get a chance, but so much pressure being applied. You can see here, Yonks and Fahad up above, Kai and Phantom way down below. Polar opposites in their position right now.
Big game for Kai here. He had a very nice solo clutch in game number 2. Second place overall. Now we got to see if he can translate that and turn it into something even better. Center of the zone not even taken by anyone at the moment right now. So the first people to move will have the most power here. And everyone else outside the circle for the moment is in a little bit of trouble because they're not going to be moving in fast. It's going to get congested so quickly. Even more action.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The north side snowy duo is just taking life after life. If you're close to a house, I guess that's where they operate the best. They just force you inside these doors, corner you out, and it looks good.
Yeah, that was a replay of the fight we saw earlier, right? Where they just clean him up. The flare gun just completely wiped out his HP, exposed exactly where he was. And then it's like, okay, man, like, whatever, dude. I'm here in the bedroom. Like, come get me, you know? His fate was sealed.
It'll be tricky to move around these slabs completely perfectly. It'll be taking some damage, but if it's just over shield, it'll take time to come back. Just at the edge of the zone. For a bunch of the duels here, they really want to see where the next one's going to be popping up. Morix and Black. Up near the jungle side, they're going to be running into so many people who are just trying to get into the zone, coming in from Brutal, coming in from the Citadel. Meanwhile, at Shattered, a few duos have found pit stops around each other. The R8 one just chilling at the bush for now too on the left side of your screen. And Yonks, Fahad in the same spot. Can't see much at all.
Well, I think, you know, we saw sort of where they were positioned versus where Phantom and Kai were sort of down beneath them. And I think it's a very big sort of difference in terms of just their attitude and their approach. You see Yonks and Fahad up here. They want to see everything around them because they want to take these engagements. They don't want to shy away from it. They're taking shots at players rotating through this area. Whereas down below, Kai and Phantom, very much sort of like, you know, we're just going to take it easy, take it smooth, try our best to get to endgame without too many problems. And maybe their approach is better because they're higher up in the standings, but we'll see how long that lasts, of course.
Now, Kai and Phantom have been really good at shadowing people. No pun on Phantom's name. But they're really good at following very loud duos. And Fahad and Yonks are one of the loudest ones on the server right now. Split shots as well over at PT. Tarm left alone. They know exactly what's going on here. They also know that Tarm might not be able to see exactly what's going down because he's so deep in that bunker. So they're going to try to push for that 1v2 if possible. Meanwhile, most of the other screens look like this. Not a screenshot. There's people in such good positions. You don't even have to move.
Yeah, that's exactly sort of where you want to be, right? The game just sort of plays itself for you almost. You can just sort of sit back and enjoy the ride.
This is FKL's new account?
No, I think it's his old account.
Oh, okay. Makes sense. Yeah. No. For this event, that actually lines up perfectly from what I've seen in the past. Look at Bador. Look at this parkour. It's kind of nice. Who needs a bush when you have stone?
Movement's clean. You know, he's practiced that one a couple times, you can tell.
A duo in the bush is worth how much in the stone? Old saying. You want to know the answer?
Yeah, tell me the answer. Teach
7.
me. Wow. That's knowledge right there. That's too old for me. I'm clearly too young for that.
They say Giants actually built that. It's the whole thing. Meow and Artor, though, I want to see, well, we can't really see building, but I want to see them build off the pressure they made in the last 2 games. Fights started, but not finished. It's like me with books at school. Really good at the first few chapters, then it gets too complicated. Switch classes, you know? And then do that too much. Not the best. But for these guys, finish the course. Get the education. Get the points, the elims, win the game.
Yeah, you got to graduate at some point, right? Eventually, you just got to wise up. And I think the big thing for them is understanding the dynamic within this lobby where you are always at the will of a third party when you take a fight. And sort of being able to keep your distance, not overcommit to a battle that's going to leave you exposed to the rest of the lobby. That has to be the change for them.
Beautiful POI.
Yeah.
The Youngs of Hawkeye had changed up exactly what they were going to do too. Oh, this is just a bait and switch. It's funny because you see this in movies all the time. There's a temple. Like,
it's booby traps.
Yeah. Not the plot to this one just yet. A lot of these Falcon duos and players so high up in the sky, just controlling a lot of the map.
Yeah, I want to see Spy and Snazy start to make their way on up. Of course, Snazy's such a respected player in EU Fortnite. Spy, such a respected player in Middle East and Fortnite. Both of them coming together. Definitely a combination you'd expect to perform incredibly well.
Trick Shot's one of the most seasoned players inside the Middle East, also looking for a little bit of action. Facing on the other side, facing another fight. This time, yeah, not worth it. You're a little bit on the low ground, not going to have angle advantage, and there's too many rocks on the way for those Cybertron cannons to really pack a proper punch. So they disengage, see what they want to do.
But I love that from Faisal because what it says to me, this is a player that in this lobby so far, all the fights he's taking, he's rolling people. Like, yeah, he's comfortable in the battles that he's taking, but he knows when it's the right battle to take. He's not, you know, overconfident in that sense. And we'll see if he reaps a reward of that.
Arthur, you're kind of forgetting something.
Yeah.
All good. Might just be a bait and switch too to see if anyone reacts to the vehicle making the sound that's moving. Wolfiz, Epic Malik have run into some blocks before. They'll elect to actually shoot, and yes, this is good damage. Quickly overcome by just a 50 pop, but more importantly, they've given away their position now. So we've seen how long Arthur can hold people at the sides of zones. He'll bring that to this tournament too and make sure that he gets paid.
Very much. They might have just made an enemy, and you don't want Arthur to be an enemy, especially not in this game. The good thing is, though, that you could probably wrap round towards the left side there and sort of avoid them using some of the ridges and hills that were sort of in between them.
I don't think FKL's screen has been the right color at all this game. Completely blue the whole time. Has always had a tint. They've been in the storm so long, but so many slurps to chug. Him and Vinku will just keep rocking it in. And this time, that R8 duo might have to move out of this bush. It might be very advantageous for them to maybe take a few shots, but they still keep it low-key. As these guys might run into a temple, they will not be able to leave.
Yeah, there's a lot of different teams around them here, right? Like the way they move through here needs to be perfect. Like they have to find the right timing. Oh, Mustache, Kakarot not in a good position at all. Mustache really just getting beaten down. Has to get out. They can't even think about what Kakarot's gonna do. He just needs to prioritize his life.
Kakarot couldn't even change his angle of sight by 20 degrees before getting bopped down. Mustache just barely surviving. Med Mist gone now, no more heals, and the flare gun won't help you find any. You gotta do something here at Rumble Ruins.
He needs a lifeline, a savior in the zone. He's looking for it, finds a med kit, and he will be able to pop it just in time.
No, it's tough. Even for Mustache in a position like this, very hard to come back from. You don't have your walls, your ramps, your floors to help guide you through these absolutely treacherous lines of sight from players. Has to find a weak duo if he can, coming out of Rumble to win this.
Yeah, the problem is, you know, you look at a player like Mustache where he thrives when he's given that platform, right, to succeed, when he has that insurance, especially with mode like build. And it's sort of been the theme of him. It's the reason why he's here playing in the Middle East qualifier instead of, you know, sitting in the crowd of Tayson getting ready to play tomorrow. It's not the strongest mode for him. It's not a mode that suits his strengths. He has to still figure things out. And if anything, this game very much looks like it's going to be another one in the long line of what could have been for Mustache.
Now we're still barely even halfway through the competition, so even if they're at 10.0 points right now, 3 phenomenal games can put you in contention to go forward and play the rest of Gamers8. Qualify through this first day. Still, that's work that needs to be put in. Leo in one of the best spots we've seen for the zone, but not in the best position inside that spot as he gets beamed, just slipping off the top of the bunker.
And you can see now, right, as the zone's getting closer, the space that's available is very much constricted. More fights breaking out all over the place. But with more fights comes more third parties. And so just where you think you're safe, just where you think everything's good, bam, one team from the zone, another team on a hill somewhere. You got to place down your bunkers. You need time to get heals off. It is really getting intense for the players here.
Now these are positional mistakes that leave you exposed for half a second. And that's your whole life bar. And that's with overshield. Big shot from Zayad. Hero now moving forward. Fahad down for the first time that we've seen so far in the tournament.
Yeah, we were questioning, right? He's in the zone just behind Hero. So he's not actually down yet. He's right in front of him now. He's caught up. But we were wondering whether or not they were going to start to get found out, start to face some difficulty. We'll see how they respond to that difficulty.
Very interesting use of the bunker from the team on defense, stopping their push over the rocks. So now they'll have to be even more exposed. Fahad now finally down. Zayad in the way in from the top side. Draftel finds the angle, and now both are gone.
Our first place team, back-to-back winners in game 1 and game 2, finally being taken out of it.
And you can see from here a little bit of frustration, asking Fahad what happened. The game plan wasn't really followed by the team, but with how much of a lead they have, definitely possible for them to bring it back again.
And we saw how easy it was for them to get caught out. They were chilling in the bush. Somebody's got a Cybertron cannon from afar. One cannon shot into that bush, and their game, it just spirals into disarray. The margin's so fine in this mode.
Right now, everyone's kind of in chaos. Codex keeping it low-key, getting JK Reap back up. Balor now finally seen him. FKS also on that left side. Bunker forced to be used. They have to move. It's a max rotation. Zone coming in about 5 seconds. They've got that one shockwave, but what else? Why even try to go and force this fight? I mean, it's what? The 5 points and 3 points per elimination. You want to be able to just be to lock in any elims you can. They're a bit harder to set up towards the end of the game. You don't want to just leave it over to randomness. Dexifite and Draftel positions to pick up a few in this zone rotation are going to have to move as well. See a lot of people behind them, but that's not what they're focused on.
Yeah, but very much aware of their surroundings, as you need to be at this stage in the game. So easy to get caught out.
Warwick's down. Salva looking good once again, but that's the last thing he'll do before he perishes as well. With a lot of these big names gone, maybe this is room for Dexifite, maybe this is room for Snazy to take some control. get a lot of the points. Flare being pushed out again for Draftel to have that first shot as soon as it's available. Zayad moving in too. Oh, everyone just gone? That was half a second? What's happening on the other side? This is a horror game. More people falling. No one is able to survive.
Nobody has any stable ground to stand on, and with that zone port, a lot more of them are gonna struggle to find anything. Nima, very much in a very sticky situation. Players above him, players around him, not much HP to work with. He needs so much. Draftel, just making the only play he really could make, just a hope and a prayer. Everybody will leave him alone. He can just go through scotch-free, and even then gets some damage taken.
Oh, he's in a 1v2.
Oh, wow. Spy as well. Just lost Nazy. Very much split up from them. I don't know how that's happened.
Oh, it's nuts. Draftel up against the Sights duo. Does take down Clapsy, but Silent will stop him from ending what could have been an amazing clip. Flare gun actually hit as Spy goes in for his own fight. Grev, no rotation, turns to invisibility, but there's a sixth sense active here. Inside these Middle East qualifiers, no chance. Get in the car, drive away.
And as soon as you drive, you're going to find yourself running into a bit of traffic. Look at all these players now just starting to move in towards the edge of the zone. Some of them opting to drop down from the cliff. Grev, a player that I think is probably going to work out for me, sort of stays out of sight, out of mind here for a bit.
Not sure if that car is going to be able to get all the way back up those walls. No sticky tires. Lard, Bloomer. This is not a good spot at all. Jump over though as Lard does get one shot in. A nice trade. Kind Phantom. They've been silent so far. Finally close to the zone, but Phantom went just a bit too far from a shockwave from above.
Yeah, now is the time to start making some noise, start having an impact on this lobby. There's plenty of players up for grabs. You can see Malik there just beneath that they're very much aware of. They need to be careful though for Hard and Yonks, some of the players that they were shadowing earlier in the game. They're now face to face with these guys, and this is not a team you want to be face to face with. Snuffed out Phantom down, and it's Kai on 6 HP.
Grev's wondering if he should take the shot, and he finally does as Kai is gone. No more clutching till second place, 9th, or no, 6th is as far as you go.
And Grev is going to be thinking, oh my days, that was the easiest limb ever. All I had to do is touch him once and he was done. 4 limbs now.
Has a win condition with that Cybertron cannon as well, but there's a big ravine that's hard to kind of navigate and get back up from if you don't have these shockwaves. Not seeing it from many players at the moment right now, and Grev's going to go all in from the cannon that he picked up before. Shotgun on the right too, but it's not going to be enough to really keep him alive. There's another duo's there too to still keep going forward. Bloomy lost Lard though now. It's all up to him at the front side of this zone.
This is such a tough spot to be in for Bloomy, but it's one he's familiar with. He's practiced for all these moments, but what more can practice do when you have 2 players running at your face like that? It's Meow, it's Artur, it's these European players. We wanted to know whether or not they can have an impact, and they can. Artur and Meow pick up game 3.
The hardest at the start, still keeping that fire alive till the finish, and you can see the celebration. What a game from Meow and Artur.
Celebrating in front of the fans, very, very happy. The first couple of games weren't looking too hot for them, and here in game 3, they finally figured it out. And in a game where so much chaos took place, all these different duos splintered across the map, these 2 stood by each other and were able to make things work in the final moments. Beautifully executed.
Solid back-to-back, just good duos gameplay here in no builds at Riyadh. I mean, just very nice from these guys to keep silent. A lot of the duos we were watching too were the ones that were keeping it low-key. Somehow the loudest duo found a way to keep their mouths shut and then just win the game.
Yeah, and it's nice to get a different flavor. Of course, it was great seeing for Hard and Hero winning game after game, but good to see a new duo come into the fray, and one that very much needed a good game at this point in the competition. The momentum from this is one that's going to be needed to carry them throughout if they want to be playing in tomorrow's competition.
Absolutely. You see the focus from Artur as well. As soon as he wins the game, a little bit of celebration, straight to the leaderboard, wants to know exactly where he is, what is the next game plan. You can see some of the action from this game and a few that we watched before. I mean, so far, everyone's gonna have to put everything into it if they want to move up these rankings.
It's all so hectic, right?
Yeah.
In those final moments, even trying to keep track of who's actually staying alive and doing what can be so tough, because you see it here, it's just chaos. Nobody really has much cover. Players are placing down their final bunkers of the game, and it's like you just got to hit shots. That's all you can do. Hit the players that are put in front of you. And in this case, it was Artur and Meow that did their best. Artur there, who fought 6 limbs just alone by himself. Absolutely fantastic stuff.
Absolutely amazing. So far today at Gamers8, we've seen some crazy games. That's 3. A lot more coming your way right after this.